In a world where the line between life and death is blurred, the darkness holds secrets too terrifying to comprehend. In the shadowy crypts of ancient Europe, the fear of the undead loomed large. As night falls, macabre rituals and gruesome methods were devised to keep vampires at bay. The chilling truths behind the myths, eerie practices of vampire burials, and spine-tingling stories that have haunted generations are unearthed. Vampire myths can be traced back to ancient civilizations. The earliest records come from Mesopotamia, around 4,000 years ago, where tales of blood-drinking demons terrorized the populace. However, it was in Eastern Europe during the medieval period that vampire legends truly flourished. The term vampire itself is derived from the Slavic word vampire, which appeared in the early 18th century. In the 14th and 15th centuries, Europe was ravaged by plagues, which fueled fears of the undead. Mass burials and hastily dug graves led to reports of corpses that seemed unnaturally well preserved, often with blood at their mouths. These signs were interpreted as proof of vampirism, leading to widespread panic. To prevent the dead from rising as vampires, various macabre burial practices were employed. One common method involved staking the corpse through the heart with a wooden or iron stake. This practice, dating back to the early 18th century in Eastern Europe, was believed to pin the vampire to the ground, preventing it from rising. In some cases, the stake was driven through the mouth, a grisly measure to ensure the vampire could not feed on the living. In the early 18th century, in a small village nestled in the Carpathian Mountains, the fear of vampires was palpable. The villagers believed their peaceful hamlet had fallen victim to a series of vampire attacks after a string of mysterious deaths. One night, the local blacksmith, Ivan, passed away under strange circumstances, and his body showed unsettling signs: a fresh, lifelike appearance and blood around his mouth. Fear swept through the village. The elders convened and decided to follow ancient rituals to ensure Ivan wouldn't return from the dead. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows, the villagers gathered by the moonlit graveyard. The men dug up his grave, their faces etched with dread. When they opened the coffin, Ivan's corpse looked disturbingly lifelike, fueling the villagers' fear. With trembling hands, the village priest recited ancient incantations, while the blacksmith's apprentice drove a sharpened wooden stake through Ivan's chest. A sickening crunch echoed in the still night, followed by an eerie silence. To further secure Ivan's eternal rest, they wedged a large rock into his mouth, a grisly-looking gravesite, condemned by the people's fear of the vampiric myth. Imagine the cold, damp air of a Carpathian village in the early 18th century. You are lying on your deathbed, feverish and weak, as whispers of vampirism swirl around you. The villagers, gripped by fear and superstition, believe you are one of the undead. As your life slips away, you hear the murmurs of the elders planning your burial, a burial meant to ensure you never rise again. Your body is laid out in a crude wooden coffin, the scent of decay already beginning to permeate the air. The villagers gather around, their faces a mix of fear and determination. The village priest mutters ancient incantations, his voice trembling as he calls upon divine protection. The blacksmith, with a grim expression, approaches with a sharpened wooden stake. With a sickening crunch, the stake is driven through your chest, pinning you to the coffin. The pain is unimaginable, but you are powerless to scream. The villagers watch in silence, their eyes wide with terror. To further ensure your eternal damnation, they wedge a large rock into your mouth, a grisly measure to keep you from exiting your grave. To this day, the chilling legacy of vampire graves and myths lingers, casting long shadows over the pages of history. The fear of the undead, once a mere whisper in the dark, became a palpable terror that drove communities to gruesome lengths. The stakes, the stones, the rituals, all serve as haunting reminders of a time when the line between life and death was blurred by superstition and fear. Even now, as we walk through ancient graveyards, the eerie silence is broken only by the rustle of leaves and the distant echo of forgotten incantations. Beware, for the darkness that once gripped the hearts of those villagers still lurks in the shadows, waiting for the faintest spark to reignite its unholy flame.